So, hi everybody. Today I'll have the task to try to make you guys make a deep dive into the different data management solutions we have at Hexagon, at least some of them, and eventually to see that in the short term or medium term future they will be bound to be interconnected. So we will have different topics that we will, I will make an overview of different topics today. The first one will be SPDM, so Simulation Process and Data Management, which was actually not presented last year at the Tech Day, and it deserves some attention because it's celebrating its 20th birthday this year. So Sim Manager is the product, and it's got, it's bringing to the table a 2.0 version, an upgraded version. So we'll go through that first. Then I'll touch on the latest releases we have in terms of AI/ML, and I'll finish up on introducing Nexus Compute. So Nexus was already presented here a little bit, but I will dive in and show you a bit of the flavor of Nexus Compute as we go. So let's start with SPDM. So our tool to manage simulation data across the enterprise is called Sim Manager. We've come quite a long way with it, through the years, and we've made a lot of investment now to upgrade the tool, bring a new interface, more natural for the user, more user-friendly, better visuals for data comparison and also for data visualization. And hence, I want you guys to see Sim Manager, let's say 2.0 in action.
Introducing Sim Manager, the focused solution for simulation process and data management. Sim Manager drives intelligent decision-making while saving costs, enhancing collaboration, and streamlining workflows. Sim Manager provides a central, secure, and searchable simulation environment, empowering you with data-driven intelligence. It helps you reduce data chaos while making data auditable and building efficiencies. With Sim Manager, you can effortlessly construct models, load cases, and initiate anywhere from a single simulation to thousands, all while enjoying in-browser 3D visualization of models and results. By seamlessly connecting data, we converge the physical and the digital worlds while infusing intelligence into every process. Assign tasks and track progress through template-based work requests. Choose Sim Manager and unlock your potential for success.
All right, so I hope this gives you guys a bit of a flavor of the software. So to describe it a bit more in details, eventually it was built initially to just manage all the simulation some engineers do within a company, all kinds of it within the same platform. Okay. However, through time it has evolved in being an enterprise solution. So to the initial, let's say, paradigm of just managing simulation, there has been added multiple benefits for a company, such as connecting and being able to monitor simulations or trigger launch campaigns to the software from Hexagon, but also third party, with full traceability of who did it and who asked for it. You have also integrated workflows, so methods on how to launch a simulation campaign, the approval process to launch one, how we're getting back the results, how they will be actually reported is done through workflows, so methods that are pre-configured for the user to use. Ultimately, it ends up in saving all the manual tasks associated to a simulation, at least most of them, so that you can just focus on other practical tasks, and that automation works for you for CAE. And as well, so not only that, but you can monitor from Sim Manager all your simulation campaigns, the progress, and also the data reporting at the end. You have seen that there's many tools for reviewing the results, comparing the results from simulation, and also visualize the parts in 3D inside Sim Manager, okay? So the products on which you're doing simulation. Something very important as well, and this is the same thing for Material Center, which is a very similar product in the portfolio. It is the fact that it's so-called a single source of truth for simulation data across the company. So you connect into one environment wherever you are in the world. So if you have different sites, you can operate on the same platform. You can actually trigger the same workflows and the same needs, like orders for simulation to be produced. And then, as I said, you have, as this last, let's say, added benefit to managing simulation, the fact that you can actually visualize the parts or the products on which you're doing simulation. Now, I want to show you that, even if we don't really advertise Sim Manager too much in comparison to the Nastran or the Adams of the world, it's a product that is actually has quite a large user base, very loyal, okay? Mostly in the automotive industry, but as well in aerospace and in what I will call general manufacturing or medical with Medtronic. And these guys, they start, from this sort of benefits I've described in order to achieve like consistent methodology within the company for simulation, controlled change management through the product life cycles, of their assemblies and so on. And ultimately, this is the result. So we've got quite many customers actually using Sim Manager, and one of them is BMW, on which we will zoom in to see, maybe like the best use case of Sim Manager that we have. Because BMW has been using Sim Manager for almost 2 decades now, since almost the inception of the product. They're doing all their simulation inside Sim Manager now, managing it at least. Very impressive is the fact that they have more than 600 users at the same time within the platform operating, and almost 2,000 users overall in the company. They do plenty of simulations per day, almost 4,000 here. And very interesting to see is that you can see that from the inception of the product in the early 2000s, the number of simulation at BMW is just increasing with time. And that is thanks to Sim Manager. BMW is also making it easy for them to operate. They just, upgrade the system every 2 years. So even though you have that many active users in the system, it's kind of seamless to make upgrades because they're quite consistent with it. So overall, a very, very successful use case of simulation process and data management at BMW. And I encourage you guys to, come and talk to us and ask questions about this, as again, it's not the most advertised software, but there's actually a lot of value into Sim Manager. Another benefit, okay, that we're actually realizing these days is the fact that Sim Manager is actually ordering very clearly and nicely all the inputs needed to do simulation, and it's also getting back the results and storing them as well with full traceability. So in other terms, it is a perfect AI/ML incubator for anyone who would like to actually do more, get more simulation results without sometimes having to do the calculations. So just a little story, quick story. Of course, I was discussing with an engineer from Switzerland. He's a startup owner, very good software developer, and data scientist as well. And he was telling me that usually in AI, the most cumbersome work, and around 70% of the work, is actually pre-processing the data, ordering it, and getting it ready to actually train a model on it. Okay? So that's actually all done in Sim Manager already. Like the data is ordered and stored in a way that you can actually identify your inputs, all the input decks, and all the inputs required by simulation to the simulation results you get. Okay? So the plan is that by Q2 or Q3 of 2024, so next year, there will be an AI integration within Sim Manager. I've confirmed it with the product management, and so it's in the roadmap and it's going to happen. So stay tuned for that, and hopefully this is another reason to make you guys adopt this kind of tool. By the way, BMW is quite a nice example, big OEM, but you can also start small and go big with Sim Manager. It's that kind of tool. You don't have to go across all the company at first. Start with one division and then you can expand easily. Same paradigm as Material Center. So this connects well with my next topic, which is artificial intelligence and what is actually new in our portfolio. For those of you who were there last year, I did present the Odyssey portfolio, which is the AI/ML tools of Hexagon, at least in D&E. And I did present Odyssey CAE and Odyssey AI, which the first tool being there to allow you to learn from past simulations, get more CAE done without having to do calculations. The second one, AI, is more about ingesting and learning from 3D geometries or images, learning from them, and then tying that up to any results or outcome you're looking for. This, by the way, gives us nice use cases for manufacturing, like injection molding time predictions for new geometries. We do that in Germany. And also, we've just got a demand at a big automotive OEM in France to actually try to automate the post-processing tasks of manufacturing simulation for casting. Rather than having someone just analyze the images coming from the simulation, AI could actually do it a bit faster. So we're investigating on that topic. However, I'm happy to discuss that, of course, later on. And in the parallel tracks, we will see the nice additions into Mark Mentat and also Cradle. So we have AI integrations into those two software. You will see that in the parallel tracks later on. Here, I will just take a bit of time to present Odyssey Explore, which is a tool that was released a month ago. And this is about data mining. So, in short, data mining is the art of extracting information from large data sets, understanding if there are correlations with certain variables that you're looking at in the model, if they have an influence on an outcome, also seeing if they are related to each other to maybe avoid redundancy when you train a machine learning model, and also having all sorts of tools to see if there are outliers in the model or if you have sections of your data that could be enriched. So this, in a nutshell, is data mining. This is the tool that we released, Odyssey Explore. And of course, primarily data mining is for data scientists or machine learning people. But since we are providing software for engineers, well, we're trying to actually explore use cases for engineering. And we're in the learning phase. I'm also learning as well. And I'm presenting that to you in order to also put that in your mind and discuss with you later on if you see some potential in visualizing data, having different sort of graph to filter it down, see outliers, and so on. And to give you a bit of flavor of the software, we've come up with a sort of use case for simulation, where we will have a bracket. There's a force applied on it. It has a 13 thickness, and we want to see the displacement at some node, some specific node on the bracket. And we did have a DOE. We ran it in Nastran, and we want to see if it's going to be fit for doing machine learning afterwards. So not having to do Nastran calculations, but trying to predict the outcomes. And so we are doing just that here. So I'm dropping the data sets, which are my DOE and the results from Nastran associated. So you see the data as a table, all the DOE points. We want to see if there is an independence in the different parameters. And now we have a heat map of the displacement for some of our DOE points. We see that there's clear cluster of points on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, some points that are alone, so outliers in the system. And our original DOE is quite homogeneous. And so we see that when we have a high force and a small thickness, we're quite poor in terms of data. So what we do is we adapt our DOE thanks to having seen that on the heat map. And this will give us, it's running circles, but basically this gives us, this is a quick snapshot of the tool, more for you to have a look and feel about it. Simple case with the bracket, but basically you can see and tell if a DOE that you have is robust enough to do predictions on it, so to basically apply machine learning to simulation, or if you have to enrich it a bit more than to start doing predictions. Simple example, of course, data mining is for larger data sets, so I'm happy to discuss with you about potential use cases later on. This is just to show you the latest we've got for AI/ML. How can you get started? Well, it's within MSC1, so everybody that has tokens can actually use it. Low consumption of tokens as well. So I encourage you to go ahead and try it, check the interface. And also it will be in Nexus, which brings me to the third part of this presentation, Nexus Compute. Last year, Guillaume Boiseau, who was standing up right there at the desk, did actually introduce Nexus. And at the time, we had metrology reporting and Metrology Connect and Metrology Enrich. So for the record, Metrology Connect and Metrology Enrich are now actually available and running into Nexus. So to refresh a bit your memory on it, Metrology Connect is a sort of evolution of Metrology Center. It's on the cloud. You can store your Metrology data on it, import it. You have Metrology data banks data also available, so you don't start from scratch. Okay? And you have all the tools available to compare the data and then export it wherever you want. Enrich is a sort of addition to that, in fact that you can then start interpolating some properties of materials that you don't have initially in your database. This is using mostly AI, but not pure AI, but also physics-informed AI, which means that it's not only doing predictions on data itself, it's also considering equations and the physics associated to material behavior, so that you're sure that you're not going sideways or out of control with what you're trying to predict and what you're enriching in your database. I think Bernard is going to touch on it later on, so I will just switch now to introducing Nexus Compute. The Nexus platform does many things, okay? But compute is the area where you will be able to access different solvers without having the need to have them on premise. And also not necessarily needing the hardware needed to do the simulations you want to do. So basically, compute is very good for people who, let's say, are lacking some hardware and do not have all the licenses available to do the simulations you want to do. It's on the cloud, you can scale as much as you want, and it's a sort of like business model based on pay-per-use kind of paradigm. Let's see a little demonstration of Nexus Compute. So I'm a user, and I'm going to create a new folder, or a new document to run some simulations. I'm importing my BDF into the system, selecting it and asking Nexus to trigger a new job. Here you will have a few options. You can choose how many cores you actually need to run the simulation, the maximum runtime, and then once that is chosen, you select the solver that you want to use for your simulation. Once that's done, you submit the job, and it's done entirely on the cloud in Nexus. When it's ready, you get the results back in the folder that you initially created. You can go ahead and view the different results produced by Nastran here. And ultimately, you want to maybe share those results with someone in the company. You click on share as you would do it on Facebook or any other, let's say, on Google, on any other tech platform. The person receives a notification by email, opens the link, and she or he has access to all the data that was generated. And so once again, that is entirely on the cloud, based on the cloud. No need to have the hardware or sometimes the licenses, you pay per use. So it's another way to view simulation and allowing people, democratizing it maybe to a greater level. How to get started with Nexus? Well, if you scan the QR code right there, you have a link towards registration. It's actually free, and you can start trying connect, enrich, and also Nexus Compute before the, let's say, 2024 launch and mass market availability. And so with that, let's just recap what we've seen today. I've discussed SPDM, I've discussed AI, and now Nexus. I'm happy to have more in-depth conversation later on during the networking or the parallel tracks. And thank you for attending and witnessing the new products of Hexagon.